Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia. I'm a California Climate Action Corps Fellow here at REAP Climate Center, and I'm going to talk to you about our permaculture garden program. Our permaculture gardens are in a wonderful state of becoming. We have been preparing the space, creating and layering over 30 tons of compost, and growing cover crops to bring life back into the soil, while working within REAP's partnership model to invite experts in and activate the space for practicing and training others in nature-based systems work. Specifically, we have been working to create curriculum and workshops that utilize REAP space to teach people about permaculture and other sustainable gardening practices. So, first, what is REAP? The REAP Climate Center is a nonprofit that specializes in ecological experiences and climate jobs. Our vision is a world where all human-built systems align with nature, where meeting human needs enriches the world around us. The how of our vision brings us to our mission, to make climate change mitigation approachable by providing ecological experiences and climate job pathways. We do this in a regenerative context, connecting play and discovery to training and certifications. Our engagement ties into different experience pathways in nature-based systems. Our pathways are grouped into three main categories: ecological and habitat restoration, urban farming, and regenerative labs and exhibits. While we've separated these categories out, they are extremely entwined with one another. For example, our permaculture gardens are a part of urban farming, but will connect with other programs like our fermentation station and biochar bar, regenerative labs and exhibits that will be exploring innovative ways to enhance our soil and the life it holds. People will be able to get involved with these nature-based systems by coming to volunteer days, events, workshops, conferences, trainings, and more. One program to get involved with is our permaculture gardens. The gardens have come a long way from REAP's inception in 2020. When REAP first came to steward this land, the soil was extremely compressed, unable to hold a lot of water or nutrients. Not a very good place to immediately start growing tomatoes or blueberries. REAP has spent much of the first 3 years building up 12 to 36 inches of soil and shaping the land. We built raised beds, layered tons of mulch and compost, and planted cover crops to kickstart the soil's regeneration. Now, when we dig new planting holes, we sink into spongy soil and are greeted by happily wriggling worms. As we continue to build the program, we strive to turn the permaculture gardens into a source for equitable food distribution and a classroom to teach things like permaculture design and sustainability. So, what is permaculture? The word was coined in the 1970s by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren to describe a concept that ties pretty directly to today's understanding of sustainability or regeneration. The term is a contraction of permanens, to persist indefinitely, and cultura, the practices that support human occupation. Permanent culture, or permanent agriculture. It's a way of thinking about humans' place as a part of nature and designing ways to meet our needs that enrich the world around us. For example, using cover crops to bring nutrients into the soil rather than chemical fertilizers which kill the things living in the soil and degrade it over time. Permaculture uses design principles and conceptual tools like zones, sectors, and planting guilds to help people build systems in alignment with nature. Permaculture design principles have two main objectives: to get people thinking about how to work as a part of nature, and to prioritize thoughtful observation. They prepare people to think in terms of interconnected systems rather than isolated situations. One of the concepts that drives permaculture is whole systems thinking. Everything is connected, and this is a powerful and practical thing to remember when designing systems. Whole system thinking sits at the heart of REAP's programs, each one leaning on and supporting another. For example, we are in the process of designing a garden. That garden will be a place we can heal soil, bringing in microbes, worms, and fungi to make their homes and free up nutrients for our plants. As we build our soil, we build habitats. We will also grow food, bringing in considerations of nutrition and community. When we consider all of these elements together, we have a better idea of the greatest possible good and a better chance at navigating our greatest possible challenges. Permaculture also has its own toolkit. Some of the most common permaculture design tools are zones and sectors, food forests, and water management. All of these loop back to the idea of design systems thinking. Zones refers to the practice of identifying what needs more care and engagement and putting them in areas closer to you or where you are most often. Things you don't need to interact with as often are in places that are farther or that you go to less. Sectors is about identifying what you have at the outset. Where is the sun in the summer? In the winter? What direction does the wind usually blow? What direction does noise usually come from? Are there any areas with a view? Where does rainwater tend to pool? All of these questions become guiding factors of what you plant and build, and how to make sure you're working with nature, not against it. Water management can look a lot of different ways. The key tenets of water management are slow it, sink it, spread it. One example of this is the use of berms and soils. Typically when it rains, and especially on hillsides, water has a brief period of time to sink into the earth before gravity pulls it away. As the water moves, it takes parts of the soil and nutrients with it. By creating swales, little basins, and berms, little mounds, we can create places for the water to pool and sink slowly back into the earth. This builds the soil's ability to hold water and store it, bringing life to the soil and creating reserves for deep roots to stretch and make trees even more drought and wind resistant. REAP's permaculture program is an example of environmental stewardship and workforce development existing in harmony. REAP sees itself as a trade school for nature-positive work, where people can receive hands-on learning experiences in nature-based solutions. The permaculture gardens will be a classroom to explore permaculture, horticulture, and sustainable land management. REAP partners with nature-positive organizations and educational institutions looking for physical sites and operating examples of greater systems change. As the permaculture gardens produce a greater yield, REAP will be able to deepen our impact with local food systems through food justice and distribution. Permaculture and its principles are being increasingly picked up by local and international groups alike. From classes to community gardens, grants, and international policy. Hobbyists, environmentalists, educators, and horticulturalists alike are searching for places to pick up permaculture design skills. Local organizations are incorporating permaculture and food forests into projects around ecological restoration, green education, job training, and food security. Federal and international organizations are incorporating permaculture into climate mitigation strategies and creating support to increase the use of sustainable practices. Permaculture has a growing role in sustainability and climate change mitigation, and people are needed to fulfill this role. Because of this, permaculture ties into many possible careers, often revolving around conservation, horticulture, systems design, and soil science. A permaculture design certificate can go towards becoming a permaculture landscape designer, a landscape consultant or manager, a horticulturalist working on or managing a nursery or garden center, working in ecological restoration and sustainability, and more. Our next steps here at REAP come with building our partnerships and community. We are building soil and community with volunteer days planting cover crops. We are also working to onboard university, college, and trade partners to offer courses across all of our programs. I want to end with a quote from Emilie Desplantes. Permaculture can often feel overwhelming, and while you may plan big, you only need start small. After all, it is an ever-evolving journey. Let nature be your guide to living. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and please visit our website at reapcenter.org and feel free to reach out with any questions. Thank you!